When they reduce the troop levels, for instance, in Iraq, they up another level. Independent contractors. They reduce the level of the military, and through the State Department, hire more civilian contractors. It's just as powerful and just as well equipped as the U.S. military. But they don't answer to Congress. They're civilians. They only answer to Hillary Clinton's State Department, or whoever replaces Hillary Clinton. Obama has shown little regard for Congress and the Constitution. On appointments, he just went around Congress.
When Congress refuses to act, and as a result hurts our economy and puts our people at risk, then I have an obligation as president to do what I can without them.
Despite saying this in a 2007 interview, quote, "The president does not have the power under the Constitution to unilaterally authorize a military attack in a situation that does not involve stopping an actual or imminent threat to the nation," end quote. That's Barack Obama. He seems pretty clear. He likes to remind people, a constitutional scholar. Well, just last year, he sent us to war with Libya without bothering to consult Congress. Is that a problem? He called it not a war, a kinetic military action. So I guess it's okay. Earlier this month, Obama announced plans for a national ID card for the internet. Anybody heard of this? Anybody? Raise your hand if you heard of it. Most people. This isn't reported on the news. That's why your friends will not believe it. That's why you have to do your own homework. You ready to wrap your head in duct tape because your head's going to explode on this one? Instead of having different passwords and accounts for, say, your bank online, GBTV, and hostess.com, which who's got an account at hostess.com? You'll just have one. Obama wants to change that and create an identity ecosystem that will centralize personal information and credentials through the government. This way, you'll have one handy government-approved sign-in. Log in and password, and the government will protect it for you. The administration says this will help improve security and enhance your privacy. Well, I'm sure it will. Homeland Security okayed the monitoring of journalists, and I haven't heard an outrage, call, or cry from any journalists. Excuse me? But it's not just journalists. It's now anyone who uses traditional and or social media in real time to keep audiences aware and informed. They use the word audience there. I like to call it friends. I like to call it followers. If you're on Twitter or you have Facebook and you have anybody following you, well, that's your audience. Do you report things in real time? Of course you do. Who's commenting on stuff? No, I'm sorry, we don't do real time in the inner space of the World Wide Web and superhighway. We like to keep our comments back about 4 weeks. That's the whole point. Everything's in real time. Congress has also proposed the internet kill switch. This bill, in an emergency situation, would shut down private sector or government networks in the event of a cyber attack. And, of course, we told you last week about SOPA and PIPA. We'll get more into that later. But you can see the internet is a very big concern for those in power. Why? Because they do not control it. So they must control it or stop it. Here's the latest from one of the big leftist sites today. Read this. This is from Slate. Warning, this site contains conspiracy theories. This is alarming. The premise of this article is that Google has a responsibility to help stop the spread of fringe beliefs on the internet. Can anybody define a fringe belief? Anybody have any idea? Name a fringe belief. Name one. Name one that you think should be regulated.
9/11 truthers.
9/11 truthers, there's one, and that's actually on that list. Birthers, there's another one. Not on the list.
Global warming.
Global warming, anybody who's a global warming denier, there you're on the fringe. You have to be taken out of the algorithm. Anything else?
People steal food.
People who steal food?
Store food.
Store food. Oh, that's a pretty good one because those guys are crazy. Watch this. The author laments the fact that people could deposit their own thoughts on the internet with little or no quality control. Let me ask you, who should be controlling your thoughts? Who should have their thoughts controlled? Here is the list. 9/11 truthers, because they're crazy. People who think HIV and AIDS aren't linked. I don't even know those people. People who deny global warming, which would be me. And people who oppose, get this, the Darwinian account of evolution. It's not even a theory anymore. By the way, about 2 months ago, they disproved Einstein's theory of relativity. Everybody thought it was fact. They just disproved it with the super collider. Did you hear that? It was a theory. They don't even want you to see other theories of how man came to pass. Only Darwin's. They propose to pour resources into filtering search results. Quote, resources should go into thwarting their growth by targeting their potential rather than existent members. In other words, the crazies are already in there. They're already lost. Just stop new people from reading it and falling for it. Now, they want to do it with an algorithm, but they're already doing it by targeting and marginalizing people. That's how they're doing it now. It's Saul Alinsky. But this whole thing with changing the algorithms, it sounds really familiar. I'm not sure where I heard it before. Oh, I remember now. Cass Sunstein. He wrote about this way back when he was a kid in 2008, suggesting the U.S. government send teams to cognitively infiltrate online groups and websites they sought to deem conspiracy theories about the government. Then they would start praising the government while discrediting the conspiracy theory, even if, and this is my favorite line, even if the theory ended up being true. Using covert agents in chat rooms. Mark my words, gang, I have no evidence of this at all, but they're doing it. You can feel them, you can see them when you're reading. When you're reading comments, you know. But it's no big deal. Cass Sunstein is only the regulations are, and he's not a problem at all. At a time when Obama is trying to end checks and balances, not a problem at all. And it's not like Google is in bed with the government. I mean, that's not happening at all. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yes, they are. The White House is. They're very excited also about being on Google+. Their former CEO, current executive chairman, was a major donor campaign advisor and was on Obama's transition advisory board. He now heads up Google's government relations team. Now, I run a small business. I don't have one of those. I don't even know. I don't want one of those. Do you have one? Do you have a government relations team? You should get one. All the cool kids have one. Obama has considered him for Commerce Secretary and Chief Technology Officer. I don't think there's anything weird about that at all. I'm totally comfortable with this relationship. I'm sure you are. Google has put in new privacy policies that we heard about today that could lead to more tracking. Google says that this change is only going to allow Google to do good and useful things, like letting a user know they might be late for a meeting based on your calendar that Google can go in and see, and your current location. They're going to map it for you. And by the way, you will not be able to opt out of this policy. Google. Didn't they used to say, don't be evil? The technology coming out is frightening. It can be really good, but it is in the hands of, I fear, too many crazy, evil people. Yet we readily hand over our liberties for the sake of a little convenience. The Blaze has a series of stories posted on this. You can go see them all there at theblaze.com today, and they have more on the news at 7 o'clock tonight. Here's just a couple of them. The NYPD is reportedly getting ready to use this X-ray scanner. Do we have the X-ray scanner? This X-ray scanner to see if you're carrying a weapon. It's radiation technology that they say you won't feel, it won't hurt anybody, it's all fine, and they can detect guns and other items on you from 16 feet away. But don't worry, you won't even know they're doing it. You won't know they're there. Okay, that makes it worse. You won't notice the military drones also in the sky that they're starting to use over our cities. That makes it worse. DHS is also looking into using war zone surveillance on American soil in persistent mode to figure out, quote, the patterns of life data. Again, the stated use is well intended, border security. But are we really going to allow every square inch of America to be persistently monitored by our government? There are many people that say, yes. What? I have nothing to fear. Oh, you should. Say hello to 1984.
Do you remember writing in your diary, freedom is the freedom to say 2 + 2 = 4?
Yes.
How many fingers am I holding up, Winston?
4.
And if the party says there are not 4, but 5, then how many?
5.